to see you, wonderful people. Oh, thank you. Just to let you know, we are recording the meeting. And if you don't want your face to be on video, you can just hide your picture or video. That way it will still continue to be recorded for people who are able to attend our meetings. It looks like we have one person missing, but she's probably going to come back for another one. That's fine. Okay. Hello, I am Veena Vijayaraj Karidal. I know my name sounds like a mouthful, but trust me, it's not so hard once you try it. This is the Vice President of Vice President of Public Relations Training. Hope you're all in the right location. And I see a lot of new faces, but I also see a lot of people I know. So welcome again. The public relations essentially is where you present your club to external audiences, and it helps you attract new members. And this is my email address. If you want to get a hold of me for any reason, I do know one or two things about Vice President of Education. I apologize for calling it education because I'm currently the Vice President of Education. My brain is going VP Ed. Okay, Toastmaster Veena is very easy to remember, V-E-E-N-A, but just put Toastmaster in front at gmail.com. Our agenda today is we will give you a little bit about the objectives, and it's essentially to identify your role. I'll make sure you are armed with a toolkit that you know and understand so that when you leave today, whether you are a first-time Vice President of Public Relations or you are a rock star, no matter what, I hope you'll walk away with something in a toolkit that you will be able to use and promote your club. That's essentially why we are here today. I'll give you a little bit about some of the examples on what worked for me and my clubs, but also I'm looking to get some feedback from all of you because it's not necessarily a workshop, but it helps us understand in terms of what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and hey, all of us have really great ideas. It's just a way of getting some more information from each of you. I'll give you some resources for the future. Since we cut short our training by about 10 minutes or so, we are 10 minutes short on it, but what I'll do is I'm always available by email, text, phone calls, anytime you have any questions, give me a holler. We have the chat function. I am going to pull up my chat and participant. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will either read them, or I think we have Marshall who's going to be helping me as well with the chat. So if you have the chat, go ahead and chat in there. That would be great. We have, let's see, and the presentations are going to be on District 39 website. But one of the things I've noticed is it hasn't been updated yet. I added a little more information on it. So at the end of the day, you have something you need. Feel free to use the chat. If you need to speak up, just raise your hand. One of us will look at it and we'll go from there. One of the most important things that I really worked on for my training is I have a symbol here, which means look out or watch out, in the sense of this is important information that is probably going to be useful for all of you. And it's more like a marker. It's, hey, I'm going to tag it with a Post-it note sort of a thing. What we will be talking about today is the 5 W's and 1 H, which means who, what, when, where, why, and how. If we know the answers to these questions, we will get what we want, essentially, in our membership and our public relations. I'm going to have a quick poll of all of you who are here today. Raise your hand if you are a brand new officer. Some of you are not on video, but if you're welcome to be on video, or if not, just raise your hand on the participant list.
Veena, do you mean like brand new, any officer, any role, or particularly this role?
Yep, any role. This is your first time, very first time being an officer.
Okay.
Nobody?
So
I am.
David and Kaylee. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I am as well, Trina.
Trina, okay, very nice to meet you. And how about if you are a first-time Vice President of Public Relations, but you have held another office position? 2, 3, maybe 5 of you. Okay. and you have been a VP of PR before. You can also use the little thumbs up or hands, just your icons there. Okay, Robin Miller has been a VP of PR before, and Robert, and Shika, and Joseph, okay, and Marilyn, and Nivette. Okay, a lot of people have been VP of PR, which means we probably are going to walk away with a whole lot more things in our toolkit than we had before. How many of you consider yourself a public relations rock star? Okay, Robin.
I do.
Kaylee, is that Connie? I just see VPPR. Okay, hi Connie. Okay, awesome. Which means you rock stars, jump in if you're PR. Also, even if you're not a vice president of public relations, it doesn't matter. You always have ideas. So think of it that way. As for me, I have been in Toastmasters since 2004. I have been in the district. I've been a division director for 2 terms, and I would consider myself a public relations rock star. Of course, tooting my own horn once in a while is not a great thing, but that's okay. That's what they tell you in Toastmasters, toot your horn. And one of the reasons I feel like I am the public relations rock star is I was successful in making public relations a part of our employee engagement. It has become a culture in Placer County. And I pretty much engaged the CEO all the way from the CEO to the HR folks. And now we have things that we can post on our website, which is going to be really great for all of us. Okay, it looks like, oh, can't affect. Okay, sorry about that. One of my members who was supposed to be in VPPR ended up being not being there. So she's supposed to come here, but I think she got moved to Vice President of Public Relations, and she's not here. Excuse me, membership. Okay, so what's worked best for you in your clubs? If you wouldn't mind adding something in a chat, and Marshall, if you could time it for 1 minute, if you don't mind. What's worked really well for you in your club? Press releases. Let's see. Themes and surveys to get new members. Press releases. Meetup postings. Perfect. Open house invite. Invitation on Nextdoor. Really? Love it. Meeting information on company's intranet site. We are associated with a business, and I use internal newsletter and social media. Perfect. Our club website has been most effective. Oh, okay, looks like we are on time. Hearing from a person that you know, constant reaching out, every week officers meeting. Really, you meet every week? That is fantastic.
And that takes us to a minute.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, Facebook event. What I'm gonna do is I am going to save my chat. That way I can pull all this information back into my next presentation for you, but I can also post them for you folks later. There are things that you do before the meeting. There are things you do during the meeting and things you do after the meeting. What I'll talk about is before the meeting, you always want to see if you can order promotional materials for distribution. How many of you have been on the Toastmasters International website and downloaded flyers? Okay, I have, because there are tons of free things that you can get from Toastmasters International. If you go to toastmasters.org/marketing, anytime you order something from TI, from the Toastmasters International website, search for free stuff, and pretty much anything that's a brochure is free. They all show up. You get them in packages of 25 to 50. And sometimes there are other marketing material that, for example, things like the vision, mission, no, the vision value statement. That's one of those things. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I have a screenshot of that later. There are a whole bunch of those things. And sometimes there are $1 for 25, which is nothing in terms of marketing. The amount of money you spend on it is totally worth it. If you can verify that the club's themes, meeting times, and locations are current for the following week, that helps a lot. Sometimes, especially in Placer's Gold, what we do is we used to meet in the sheriff's office. Sometimes we got kicked out because they had another meeting so it was double booked, and we had to move our meeting to another location. If we didn't update our website or our Facebook page, people would not necessarily know where we were meeting and what time it was meeting. Or if because of a county, because we meet in a county building, if the county was closed that day on a Tuesday, then we wouldn't meet. And that's something we have to update, because the last thing you want is for people to show up at the meeting location and not have a meeting. Okay. We have, I talked about verifying. How many of you have gone virtual right now exclusively? I guess almost all of us, huh? Anybody meeting in person right now? Oh, really? Kaylee, you're meeting in person? No.
No, that was for the first question. It just takes like 5 seconds for it to go down. So I was like, oh, it's going to look like I'm still raising my hand. Sorry.
One of the things you will remember, I'm not sure how many of you have done this, but this is something that is really important, because when you are in Find a Club, have you updated your meeting location? If you have, you are a rock star. Good job. Because what needs to happen is, a lot of times it takes you back to what you had pre-COVID. We didn't have our Zoom meeting information in there. So it showed up when people searched for Find a Club, it was pointing us to our Auburn office where we meet. And we're not meeting there anymore. It's completely exclusively on Zoom. So we had to go make our changes. The way you go make the change is go into club administration, club contact and meeting information, and your club website. Again, one of the most important things I've noticed is when our club information is updated on a regular basis, people come back. So if you have a new picture or a new video or a meeting, a speech that someone gave that was really nice, put it on your homepage, because people recognize why you come for meetings. And if you have a Facebook page, put that on there. One of the things I tell people all the time is, instead of having your individual email addresses as your club email address, create a club email address just for the club. Have that password sent out to all the officers, that way everybody has access to it. When people reach out to you, the last thing you want to do is, oh, Veena, she's in India, sorry, she can't respond, because she's the only one that can manage the email address, the emails that come to our email box, right? So when you have a whole bunch of people managing it, but at least knowing who is supposed to be managing it, instead of saying, sorry, you can't, instead of saying, oh, let's see, Robin's going to respond, but Robin's thinking Veena's going to respond. So you really need to have some kind of a communication, knowing who's going to do what. And now with this, online attendance is allowed. What happens is, when you do a Find a Club, if people are searching for online clubs just them by themselves, then it'll show up as online attendance allowed. Otherwise, it won't show up on your search list. Okay, so we talked about the before the meeting clubs. Where do you post and place your club themes, meeting times, and locations? You would do them on your club website, social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Meetup, and we have online directories like Google. Supposedly there's something called My Business. When you update it on My Business, you get that information in there, and Bing for places. A lot of times Google pulls the information from your website, which means if your website is incorrect, Google gets what it gets because it's going from the source. Yes, Gmail is free for club email, and this is great. One of the things that works really well for us is club and company newsletters. When you have, say, for example, a speech contest, you have the winner from your club who's gone all the way to our area contest or the division contest or international. That is a worthy moment to let everybody know how well that person did. Because what happens is, then, say, for example, we have Yvette who really won the district contest, but nobody else knows about it. Who's going to toot the horn for Toastmasters? But when you send that email out or send a club newsletter saying Yvette actually won the contest, then everybody's talking about it, asking, okay, what happened? What is this? What is Toastmasters? So it's all about creating buzz about Toastmasters, so people who either know or don't know a lot of people know what Toastmasters is and what they do, but they just haven't jumped over the ledge to say, yes, I'm jumping in, I'm just getting over my comfort zone, and they're not coming in there yet. I will share the screen, excuse me, I will share my slide deck with you that I have updated. If you want, just send me a note, just send me an email. But the district website also has not an outdated, it's from last month. It was the last month session that's on there, but I'll send you the link to it as well. MailerLite and MailerChimp are free and they're great newsletters. Yes. Those, again, just remember when people get emails, you also can go back and take a look and see how many people actually opened those mails, how many of them did not open the mails. So you know from a connection perspective, who cares about your Toastmasters emails and newsletters, because then you can start targeting them at that point. That's a great way for you to get some information about them, because pretty much every single one of them have analytics and use the analysis to help make better decisions. It's not just throwing things out in the void and hoping people show up, right? Sometimes you have to make smarter decisions about who you want to bring back in.
Hey, Vina.
Yes.
With the digital thing, right? We are doing Zoom right now. I'm sure all of us are, right? The virtual, but with the security, right? You want to make sure we don't want to post our Zoom link, on the TM website, because somebody else that we don't really want can, crash the party and so on. So how are you doing that to make sure that it's still safe and, secure? But at the same time, you want to promote and tell people where we are meeting at. How are you balancing that?
Perfect question, because I was going to address that later, but since you brought it up now, I will talk about it. One of the most important things is security in Zoom. You don't want party crashers on Zoom crashers. What you really want is to have people, you send the link, just tell them it's going to be held on Zoom. You don't give out your meeting ID. You do not give your password out on any social media. Doesn't matter if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter who it is. You can't do that. Excuse me. Don't post your password anywhere. Don't post your meeting ID anywhere, because that's when people come in. If you put it on, just what we do at both my clubs is we post our email address, classesgoal.toastmasters.volt@gmail.com and classesgoal.toastmasters@gmail.com. Those are the only email addresses that are available on any social media. We say, contact us. That way, when people contact us, we actually are sending a link to specific people and not just to the whole world where we don't know. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but also when you are meeting people, what you can do is, when you're sending out invites to Zoom links, if it's a message group, for example, in a Toastmasters group, I know on Facebook, some people have shared links. If it works for you, great. But again, just be aware, if it's a private meeting ID, then be careful about who you're sharing it with.
One question on that, Dina. We don't really have any way to control what the members do. Members have the link and the password. Is there any guidance as to how to handle that within the club? I mean, sometimes you'll get new members and they may pass on without even being aware that there's a concern. What's your experience in dealing with the club members?
That's a great question. Because we have new members coming into our clubs on a regular basis and we share the link with them, we share them with guests who come into our club. One of the things I always do at the bottom of my email is, please do not share this on any social media platforms, because what happens is when they see that, they know not to share. But also, it's just something that you reiterate to members. That way they know it's not okay to share it on social media. Just let them know to share your club email address. That way they can reach out to you, to whoever has to reach out to. They can send it to
And Zoom made it unhackable. They made a new update. So as long as you don't post the passcode and the meeting ID, if you just do his link, the host can actually kick them out without even getting in. So say you have a waiting room, make sure your Zoom has a waiting room because the people can get kicked out and it's less hackable in that position. So if you're going to post something in the newsletter, just do the link, no passcode.
Okay, thank you.
But you have to have the waiting room turned on, because if you don't have the waiting room turned on, they can still come back in with the link. So just be aware of that part of it. And we also post them on company events and newsletters. For example, on Placer County, I work for Placer County, and on our intranet page, we have a calendar. On the calendar, we have all my meetings. I belong to 2 clubs, so both the meetings are available on both 2 different days. So they always see something about Toastmasters on there. I talked about intranet sites, we have them there as well. One of the other things we do is when we used to meet in person, we distributed promotional material to our members. That way they can take it with them and hand it to other folks. They can post them on bulletin boards or wherever else they have, leave them in lunchrooms, things like that. One of the things we also did was I would drop off magazines with our club information on there. I would print a QR code, that way people can scan them, but also our email address. So people can figure out where we are, either phone number or a contact email, something that gets them in touch with you, so you can give more information. The other thing that's worked out really well for us is newspaper clippings and printouts. Every time there's something that happens in our club, we make a big deal of it. You can also talk about the commencement of your PR campaigns. We are running a little short on time, so I'm going to have to go a little faster. But one of the most important things you need to know is know your audience, because depending on who your audience is, are you an internal club with just your internal members where it's a corporate club, nobody else can join you? If that's the case, you know who your audience is. But also, are you targeting a specific age group? Are you targeting a specific educational background? Or are you looking for people who are job seekers? I know I've been helping a lot of people on getting jobs, but again, they're looking for how to build confidence. So if you are reaching out to people, if you're having one-on-one conversation with them, talk to them about Toastmasters. If you feel like someone has some information in terms of, okay, they could really use some uplifting or boosting, then Toastmasters is the answer. So talk to people about that. Newspapers versus online. Who really reads newspapers anymore, right? No, actually wrong. A lot of people in Auburn do. Maryland does not. I know for a fact, we had so many people actually show up at our open houses just because of what they saw in the calendar of events in our newspapers. They have shown up not just during COVID times, but even before COVID times. We have had the best success from newspapers more than online, which is crazy because you would think everybody's gone online. One of the things we tend to forget is our past members, someone who knows Toastmasters. If they know Toastmasters, it worked for them in the past, but they had to leave because of whatever reason, like family or job or whatever else it is. Just remember, it's easier to talk to someone who knows about Toastmasters than to someone who does not. And they have a better reason to come back to Toastmasters. So don't forget about them. And there is one place where you can find your past information. Another reason why an email address that is generic to your club really works is because everybody that gets in touch with you through Gmail, your email address, you have their contact, which means every time you have an open house, you can send information to them because they reached out to you. It's not like you were reaching out to them. And again, depending on your audience, you can do a paid or an unpaid campaign. What we did at my club, Voices of Lincoln, is we did a paid campaign on Facebook for a targeted 50-mile radius. And we had so many people that showed up at our open house. It was fantastic. And I'll talk a little bit about the themed open houses in a little bit. Here's something we did at my Club Plaza's Gold. We came up with a list of things and said, okay, how do we improve our membership? What can we do as public relations to help bring more members into our club? Threw it out there, as we call it, spaghetti on wall. No idea is a bad idea. We put them all up there and said, okay, let's figure out what's the impact and what's the effort. Here we have high impact and high effort, high impact and low effort. Low impact and high effort. And here you have low effort and low impact. Things, again, I have a Word document if you are interested in this, just to see what information you need from here. it really worked great for us with my club. We ended up having an we do employee orientation every month. Every time they used to have an employee orientation in person, we would go there and talk about Toastmasters. We would talk about Toastmasters. It is part of our package they give to our new employees who come into Placer County. We have an employee, during the employment training, they have a booth for all educational stuff. And one of the things we did was we had an educational booth for Toastmasters, and we would showcase that as well. We would bring all our medals and our trophies and things like that. In the past, it used to be manuals, but again, things that people can talk about. We also did, let's see, one of the other things that really worked for us is anytime there's a job fair or an employment fair, any of those things worked out really well. Yes, it takes 1 or 2 people to go set it up and pull it down, but it's totally worth the time. Let's talk about goals. Why do we care about goals? A goal without a plan is just a dream, right? So anytime you want to come up with what you want to do, what do you want to accomplish by the end of the year, you always want to have a goal. They say people with no goals are 83% of the people with no goals get nowhere. Only 14% of the people, if they have a goal in their head, only 14% of them succeed. If you have a goal in your head, but you put it on paper and you make a plan, you almost always succeed. Which means, here's where I'm going to go with this. How many of you have seen the dashboard? You know what the dashboard is, right? Okay, perfect. So you can go into https://dashboards.toastmasters.org and put in your club number and you'll get this. This is critical for you. The base is important. What is required is important. Why is that important? It's important because you need a net gain of 5 members if you're below 20 members. If you are at 20, you need to stay at 20 at least. You can't go below that. That should be your goal. However, that really should not be your goal. Your goal should really be adding 8 members minimum at your club, which is the first 6 months, it's 4 members, and your second 6 months is 4 members. But you do lose a lot of members during the year, which means you can't decide to go with just the 8-member list, because at the end of the day, my club, we started off with 17 members, and right now, guess how many we have? Especially with COVID, we lost members. We gained a lot of members, but we also lost a lot of new and old members. We ended up having 10 just now. And that's not a cool look on our website, but also we've been 10 out of 10 for the past few years. So getting from doing extremely well to almost no members, even though we've had members, not showing up members is not a good thing. So work with your executive membership to work on a plan and try and come up with at least 12 members. That way, no matter whether you lose members or gain members, you still have a net gain or you have 20. One of the most important things in a PR campaign is something I call with them. You might have heard this in different formats. It's what's in it for me. With them, what's in it for me? Why do I care? Why should I join Toastmasters? If you can answer that question, people will come to your meetings and they will stay. If you can't tell them why Toastmasters matters to them, they will not show up and they will not stay. The basic principle of persuasion and influence is the whole idea of what's in it for me. They will commit to action once they know why it's important to them. So we talked about SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. I showed you the dashboard a second ago. Specific because you know you need a certain number of members. You also know what you are planning on doing as part of the specific role. Measurable, we talked about either 8 members or 12 members. That's measurable. Is it attainable? We have 6 months now for you to make that change. 6 months, you think it's possible? I think it is. It's the whole idea of yes, you can do, right? If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But if you don't try, it's never going to happen. If it's relevant and time-based, we talked about that a second ago. This is a calendar. I have a link at the bottom of my PowerPoint. What you can do is download it from the Toastmasters International website, but it's also available here. If you know the date, what the subject is, who to contact, what you're going to do to let people know, that matters a lot, and who is responsible for that, and the deadline for when you need to get it done. If you come up with a plan like this, it helps you and your team figure out what you can submit by the end of the year. Here's the biggest challenge that I've faced in my clubs, and other people who have come for my training have faced as well. So here is my question for you folks who have potentially lost a lot of members. Because of Zoom, how many of you have actually lost members as the reason why? I see a lot of hands going up. Yeah, it's been so hard to try and bring people in and convince them that Zoom is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Zoom, but I think from a technology perspective, they just are not okay with it. So they are dropping like flies. Because of Zoom, they gave that as an example, the reason why they want to meet in person. Yes, at this point, we can't meet in person, but what is the alternative? So what I want you to do is think outside the box. If you can tell me outside the box, just imagine there is no box. Go ahead, Kaylee.
We actually came up with a YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
So we are doing a YouTube channel and we do table topics, we do different topics, and with the newsletter, it's actually posting about what happened, who won what, and that goes on our social media as well. So we're doing themes, and it's all going out to YouTube to create that content and really reinforce, yeah, it may not be Zoom, but guess what? Your world is now virtual. Shouldn't you be more professional in the virtual world?
Thank you. That was my point, because at the end of the day, so on your Zoom, YouTube, are you doing YouTube live or is it post?
No, so due to the releasing of certain photos, I had all the members sign a photo release and a video release form. And then I also double check before I record the table topics or
Perfect.
a speech. I verify that I have permission to record that specific speech.
Perfect.
So we do it that way, even though they sign those forms, just being respectful of certain speeches and whatnot.
That is great. Thank you so much, Kay. That's one of the things I'll talk about that in a minute. But again, remember, yes, we are in a virtual world, but the world is not really just our four corners of the building anymore. The world really is the world, which means you can have members from anywhere in the world join you. So we started doing a lot more things on LinkedIn and Facebook, where we are opening up our meetings to people around the world. I know one of our members from District 39 actually opened up a club, just a virtual club from people around the world. I think he might have started it for the people in the Philippines, but it's open to anybody. I'm planning on attending a couple of meetings in Korea. I know one of my presidents is planning on doing the same. Someone attended 143 Toastmasters meeting in 143 countries. So think about what that might potentially do for you if people are coming in from elsewhere. There's nothing wrong with having people from outside of District 39 be in District 39. So reach out to folks that way. Maryland has not lost a single member, which is fantastic. Oh, we have a member from Peru. He's an awesome Rosal Toasters. Fantastic. The question is, how the heck did you get them in here, right? How did they find you? And the fact that you were okay with having them join, that is phenomenal. Again,
Veena, I have something to add here.
Yes,
So
Chika.
I think in my club, which is Prairie City Talker in Folsom, California, we might lose, I'm not sure in future when the extension is due, but we did gain our old members who were who relocated to other states and they were not able to attend our meeting. But now due to virtual setup, we are able to, have them in our meeting, and including me. I am in Colorado now because of my new job, but I'm so glad that I can still continue my pathway and be associated with my old and family. So I think that's something, a plus point, which we can use to sell how much important this virtual platform is.
I love that because, again, remember the words she used, friends that we know, right? It's just about who we knew in the past, but you already have a connection with them. They would come back. I know I would connect with people that I used to be connected to in the past, and I would rather meet with them sometimes. Well, sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. So it's a question of, okay, who can you connect with and who do you want back in your meetings? So reach out to folks that have been there in the past. And on LinkedIn, I will talk about that in a minute. So we talked about out of the box thinking for 2 minutes. How many of you have heard of the campaign called #MyWhy? Okay, how many of you have #MyWhys? I'm going to give you 30 seconds if you wouldn't mind, really quick because we're running our short on time. Tell me your why on why you joined Toastmasters. It could be, oh, sorry. There's something called My Why. I have a link here that'll take you to the #MyWhy. But tell me why you joined Toastmasters, or why you stay in Toastmasters, or the benefits to you, the benefits to others, the benefits to the businesses. And I want you to type it in really quick. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Not hearing anything. Not seeing anything. To help others. I want to get a jump start on my professional development. Love the positive attitude and the confidence it builds. Camaraderie, professional motivation. I joined to practice impromptu speaking and to get rid of jitters. I wanted to become a more comfortable speaking in large groups. I also got the added bonus of confidence boost. I believe in free speech and want others to be able to share their thoughts effectively. To get over a fear and job motivated me. I love learning from others and be in a safe place. I'm 3 bilingual clubs. Ooh, whoa, that's awesome. To get comfortable with a live audience and improve my professional career. Podcast, social media. Ooh, I love that. Learn more from others' experiences, storytelling at a higher level. I was new to the neighborhood, stayed, loved the community and purpose. It helped me improve my leadership and community. Oh, I love everything that I'm hearing so far, which means you have what it takes right now with what you just typed in the chat to create your #MyWhy. How many of you are ready to do your My Why videos? Okay. I know in my club, what we are planning on doing is having everybody record their own My Why videos. And we're planning on doing it once a week where we post them on social media like LinkedIn or Facebook, because remember, Facebook is a different audience than LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more of the professional, not that Facebook is not professional, but I don't have a Facebook page personally. I never go on Facebook. So my audience really is LinkedIn. And I'm looking at professionals who are looking for jobs or people who are searching for something to grow. That is my why, #MyWhy. What I'm also planning on doing is having us reach out to, I've reached out to the HR department and they're going to do it as part of the employee engagement video. We will post it on Vimeo and they will share a link about Toastmasters to every single employee at the county because they send out the email. HR sends out the email on a newsletter, Pasco County email newsletters, and it's going to go out to everybody. So think about it, free eyeballs, 3,500 people. Are multiplied by 2 extra eyeballs. So that is a great way to get Toastmasters on people's calendars. And then I talked about make that a mini table topics. Social media strategies. We talked about Meetup. How many of you have done Meetup in District 39? If you have not, since we're running a short on time, I'm going to, if you can just raise your hands fast enough so I can just rush through the whole process. Sorry, I lost 10 minutes. I've got to really run. Meetup, I have a contact in the back after the slide. So Meetup, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube. The most important thing is remember the hashtag. If you don't hashtag it, people can't find it. It's an easy way to find it. If you don't have a hashtag, if you don't know how to create a hashtag, just create one. #Veena will bring up all the Veenas in the world. So make it specific to your club. That way they can find them. And if you do @Veena, it'll search for @Veena on LinkedIn and it'll pull up all the Veenas. If you do @Veena Vijayaraj Karidal, then it'll show up my name. and my name gets mentioned there. That way, anything that is tagged to me will automatically get sent to my contacts. That's the way exponentially you grow PR. That's what happens. If you just, oh, I'm doing all this work, but I'm not broadcasting it to anybody, they're not going to know about it. When they start sharing it with their peeps, Toastmaster word for peeps, people, that's when more people know about it. And I did talk a little bit about setting up an email with generic email addresses. The Meetup contact is Kathy O'Reilly. She is, if you do hashtags and notes and your phone, and you can just copy and paste so you don't have to type them every time. I like that. One of the most important things I've heard is, I've seen also and experienced is when you tell a story, what's in it for me? When I say what's in it for me, why did I join Toastmasters? When you hear my story, you know I joined for a reason. You see how much I have improved. When you see my improvement, you know you want to join Toastmasters, because when I see people talk, like, I want to be that person. I want to grow that far. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is your story. If you can have that kind of a story and write on LinkedIn or something else like Facebook and talk about it to people one-on-one, more people will join your meetings. I also like to say work smarter, not harder. And the way to work smarter is use the software that will help you publish them to multiple locations. Say, for example, you have Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You have to publish the same article on 3 different platforms, which means you're doing 3 times the work. Do you have to? No, you don't. There is one platform called Hootsuite that you can use. Log into Hootsuite for those 3 platforms that you pick, and it will automatically publish it to all 3 locations at the same time. It is a fantastic way to do it. But again, you can only do it for three different programs or platforms. And you also you can do a scheduled one. So you can set it up to go once a week or once a month or however frequently you want it to go. So the articles can be preset to publish on a regular basis. If you want to create flyers, you can use Canva. If you want free photo library, there's something called Unsplash. If you want to create infographics, there's PictoChart, because HOOTSUITE. It's right here, Hootsuite. And one of the most important things that I've seen with public relations or any officer position is burnout. You don't want to get burned out. So what do? Do you do everything? No, you don't have to do everything. Do you have to do everything on your own? No, you don't have to do everything on your own. What do? Create a committee. That's the whole point about Toastmasters. Find a committee, find someone to help you. Hey, Kaylee, you're really good in public relations. I know you can create newsletters. Would you like to help me with this? You talk to Kaylee and she's going to help you build the newsletter. And David, you might be really good in Facebook or LinkedIn. Would you like to help me with that? Give them the password and have them be that person that's the go-to person to post things on Facebook or LinkedIn. You won't believe the number of people I've lost to burnout. And this is my #1 thing I tell them all the time. Reach out to your friends. They are your friends. They will help you figure it out. Okay, I have 2 more minutes. Here, I'm just going to go really fast. To do or not to do, we talked about social media papers and all that stuff. So you need approval from your members before you post anything on social media. Without a signature, please do not post pictures or videos, and be very careful when you post them. I have YouTube channel, just look for Plus is Gold and Voices of Lincoln. You'll see a lot of our really fantastic speeches. Business cards, have them create a QR code. It's pretty quick. You can find them, just search for Google QR codes, create it, put everything you need to on that little box, and people can find them and see them on their contacts. Open house, make it fun, have a theme, make it marketing. If you can do it, I'm going really fast. I don't know if you can understand what I'm saying. Okay. If you can dream it, you can do it. And you can have a purpose and motion to a plan. What I did was at Placer County, one of the reasons why I was so successful in getting this whole thing done was I met with the CEO, which meant I got my credibility. I had my letter for the benefits, value, and the hashtag #MyWhy. And I connected with the HR department, the learning and communications department. We got them on a schedule for our training every month. every time we had a new calendar of events, it came as part of our training. It comes on our Placer County intranet events and banners, open houses on the intranet. They get an email broadcast to all employees. It's part of the new employee orientation. We had the communications director for Placer County, who was one of our speakers. That makes a big difference. Again, credibility. Bring someone who has weight, and you'll get more people that show up. We have booths, which are education open houses and employee picnics. And here you go. One of my proudest moments was when closing breakouts. My name showed up on the Placer County intranet page when I got my DTM. How great is that? And yeah, I felt really good. And then when Placer County got an award for being really promoting Toastmasters, they actually came up and there was an award presented, which was posted on the District 39 website. Here is my benefits and value to Placer County employees. I made it specifically for Placer County.
Welcome back, everyone. That was extremely abrupt. There was no countdown. I'm so sorry.
Can you see me? Maybe? Denise? Hi.
Eva, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. So we can chat while we're in it, but right now we're in the 10-minute break period. So we'll start Nora Lee's evaluation workshop at 7:05 promptly. But you can feel free, grab something to eat, run to the restroom, stay here and chat with us, whatever you want to do for the next 10 minutes.
I just want to say, since our VPPR ended very abruptly, I tried to rush through it. I will post the new updated slides on the District 39 website. I apologize, I didn't get through the whole thing, but I'll send you the extra resources as well. And I'll post my email address here, so if you have any questions, just feel free to email me. But I've got to run. Bye all, lovely seeing you.
Thank you, Veena.
Thank you so much.
I just saw a question in the chat, were all the workshops recorded? My workshop was recorded. Denise's workshop was recorded. Those are the only ones I can guarantee because they're the only ones I see having thumbs up. If the co-host,
Veena, I think, yes.
I don't think we didn't say we were going to record them before. So
if the co-host pushed record, then it got recorded.
Yeah.
And I will know what those are in a day or two when we close this down and it has time to process, and they'll be posted on the YouTube. I think is where we've been posting them, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Veena, that was really well done.
Yeah, I missed the first session. I'm kind of all ready for the next one. So I would like to kind of watch it in the YouTube if it is.
Absolutely, it will be available on the YouTube, which is D39TM YouTube.
Oh,
and to find most of the things, you click on the videos section.
Thanks.
You bet.
Russ, if we have a couple minutes, would I be able to talk to the members about Meetup?
Sure.
Thank you. District 39 is updating their Meetup site. And I'm really, really excited about it. We've just got started. The club growth team is working on it. And I'm going to be doing it as an HPL. And what we're trying to do is use the new tools that that Meetup has. It's fantastic. You can send out notices